All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine from SEB Housing, and this is the lottery for the affordable units at Hanover Weymouth in Weymouth, Massachusetts. Just going to move my camera a little bit so you can see me a little better. So as you heard when you entered this Zoom session, the meeting is being recorded, and that's because we're going to have some households on this lottery who were not able to join us tonight. So we want to be able to send this recording to them so they can view it later on if they should want to. And if you have any questions during this session, you can go ahead and either type them into the Zoom chat that should be on your screen, or you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask that question. All right, so there are 20 affordable available units, and we received completed applications from 93 applicants for this lottery. 15 of those households indicated that they qualify for local preference. And to give you a breakdown, this is all going to be in writing to you in an email, but just to give you a breakdown by bedroom size, we received 22 applications for the one-bedroom unit. 3 of those applicants qualify for local preference. We received 39 applications for the 2-bedroom unit. 7 of those applicants qualify for local preference. And we received 38 applications for the 3-bedroom unit, and 7 of those applicants qualify for local preference. We also had some households who require a disabled accessible unit, and there was 3 applicants for that 1-bedroom that has disabled accessible features. So tonight I'm going to be conducting 2 drawings. The first is going to be the local preference drawing. It's only going to include the lottery application numbers for the 15 households who indicated that they have local preference. And then the second drawing is going to include the lottery application numbers for all 93 households. And the purpose of tonight's drawing, so it's to establish an order of priority for the waiting list that I'll be sorting all application numbers onto tonight. So during the drawing tonight, you're not going to know your position on the waiting list because I haven't sorted the results yet from tonight. And what I mean by that is when we draw the numbers, you don't know who applied for a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, etc. So when I sort the waiting list, I'll be sorting them tonight, and you will get the results by tomorrow morning at the latest, probably tonight. And so when the email comes to you, you will have the waiting list actually attached to it, and at that point, you'll be able to see where you fall. You'll be finding your lottery application number on that email. If your lottery application number on the waiting list that is sent to you is highlighted in green, that indicates that you'll be in contact with the leasing office right away because you're one of the top households on one of the units, and we'll be giving you in that email the leasing office contact information, so you'll have their information to get in touch with them as well to start your lease screening. We've been told by the leasing office that 9 of the 20 affordable units are available now. An additional 6 units will be available from a different phase of their construction in mid-August, and then the remaining 5 units don't have a lease update or potential lease update yet, but it will follow hopefully soon after that. And so remember that you've not submitted any of your income documentation yet. You've only reported your income information on your lottery application. So the next step in this process, if you're one of the top households on any of the waiting lists, is to get in touch with the leasing office, do your lease screening, which will include normally a reference check, background check, that sort of thing, credit check. And if you are found lease eligible by the leasing office at Hanover Weymouth, then you'll be referred back to SEB Housing to submit all of your income information for your program eligibility. All right, so to give you an idea of how the drawing is going to be run tonight, it's going to be digitally run instead of me pulling numbers from a box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share now just so give you an example of how this is going to look. So I'm going to use a list randomizer function in the website random.org, and that's a website that digitally generates a random order in the same way that manual drawing would have done so. And again, the drawing results that you're going to see when I do the actual drawing is not necessarily reflecting what your position on the waiting list is going to be, because that still has to be sorted. So I'm going to share my screen now just so you can see how the drawing is going to go, and then I'll proceed with the drawing itself. So let me just get this up on my screen, and I'll give you an example here of what it's going to look like so you're familiar with it before I actually run the drawing. So I'm sharing my screen now. This is the website random.org. This is just the first page that comes up. If I scroll down to list randomizer, that's what I'm going to use. Your lottery application number is the letter A dot a series of numbers. For this demonstration purpose, I'm just going to write 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I click randomize, it's going to spit back out a list, a random order of those 4 numbers. So what I'm going to be doing during the drawing is I'm going to put in the 15 application numbers of the local preference households, and then the 93 applications of everyone who applied for the lottery. And those results are going to allow me to sort everybody's application number onto the waiting list. All right, so I'm going to get everything set up now. Does anybody have any questions before I start? I'm just going to get my information up here so I can get back on random.org to do the actual drawing. And then I'll be able to, I'm going to scroll down the results so you'll be able to see the results of this drawing. But again, it is not indicative of where you will land on any of the waiting lists. Just kind of one step in the process. All right, if nobody has any questions, I'm going to share my screen again. I'm back on random.org, and I'm going to take the local preference household or lottery application numbers from this sheet that I have here. This is the local drawing number, so this is 15. It says 16, but that's because there's a header here. So there's 15 numbers here, and these lottery application numbers represent the 15 households who indicated that they have local preference, either live in Weymouth or work full-time within the town of Weymouth, or have children within the Weymouth public school system. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight these 15 numbers, and I'm going to copy them over into the list randomizer. And this is the first step in the process here. So the 15 numbers are here. And I'm going to click randomize, and this is the local preference drawing for the affordable units at Hanover Weymouth. So there's the random order. I will toggle back so you'll be able to see these results. I'm going to put them onto the spreadsheet here so they're a little bit easier to read. And just bear with me for 1 minute while I do this. I'm going to save that. Those are the results of the local drawing. So if you indicated that your household has local preference, you should see your number here somewhere. I'll make this a little bigger so you can see it. But again, I'm going to do the general drawing with all 93 households now. I'll come back to this sheet so you can see the results of both of the drawings. So I'm going to completely X out of this just to make sure that we don't mix up anything. And I'm going to go back to the list randomizer, back to my general drawing list here. These are the 93 application numbers of everyone who applied for the lottery. This includes all bedroom sizes. You know, these are the 93 households who applied for the affordable unit. And I'm going to go back to Go back to list randomizer, and I'm pasting all of the lottery application numbers here. And this is the general drawing for the lottery for Hanover Weymouth. So I'm going to click randomize. And again, there's 93 places here with the results of the drawing. I'm going to copy them onto the spreadsheet just so it's easier for everyone to see. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to take a look, to find your number. If you don't see it on the screen, I will be able to find it for you. Again, this is the results of the lottery, but it's not these are not the waiting list. So for example, the person with A.076, that doesn't mean that they're number one on any particular waiting list. I still have to sort by bedroom size, household type, whether or not the household requested a disabled accessible household, whether or not the household is a local preference household. So real quick again, I'm going to go back over to the local preference drawing. I'm going to hide this column A so it doesn't confuse anyone. These are the results of the local preference drawing. The general drawing here, I'll scroll down so you can take a look. Is anyone else having, I have one person who's messaged me that they can't see the screen. Is it because it's small on your screen, or is it because you're seeing nothing? Is anyone else having an issue with that? These are the general drawing results. So I'm going to scroll down and we can get down to the 93rd spot pretty quickly. But again, if you don't see your number, feel free to shoot me a message and I will be able to find it for you. Okay, perfect. Yep. Everyone can see it now. About halfway down now. This is the placement number for the lottery on the left, and then your lottery application number is the figure that starts with the A dot. And so both of these lists are giving me the order of priority for the local list and then the general list, and I'll be able to use them to sort the results. So in general, it's more favorable for you to be drawn higher up, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be high up on any of the waiting lists, because for example, if you applied for a 2-bedroom unit, but you're a single household member, there's only one person in your household, you're going to be below everyone who has priority with having more household members for a 2-bedroom, for example. So there's a few things that come into play when I am sorting the results. Anyone have any questions or not see their number and want me to take a look for them? And again, these results are going to be sorted onto the waiting list. The waiting list will be sent to you in an email from info@sebhousing.com. You should get that email tonight. I plan on working on this tonight, so tomorrow morning at the earliest. And again, it will come from info@sebhousing.com. Right, so question is, so just to be clear, these are not in order. So this is the order of the lottery drawing, but the waiting lists haven't been established yet. So this is showing the lottery results, but I'm using the lottery results to create the waiting list, which have to go in a certain order that was listed on the information packet, which I can actually bring up for you because that might be helpful. Where's the info pack here? So you should be able to see on your screen now, this is this waiting list priority. And you'll see that this is basically the order that I'm going to be using when I'm sorting the waiting list. So if you apply for a 2-bedroom household and you're a type 2 household, you're going to have top preference. If you were a local preference household, If you're a not local preference household and you're a type 2 household, you're going to have second priority. So I go through all of these when sorting the results. There was a question, are all the one bedrooms the same size? I don't have, I have on here, this is the average square footage was 713. I don't have the floor plans in front of me or the list that they gave us with the square footage of every unit in front of me right now, but my guess would be that that's an average. They're not all identical because this is a very large apartment community. Will home base be accepted? So I believe so. You would need to, talk to your voucher administrator to confirm that the rents are acceptable for your voucher, any voucher, Section 8, home-based funds that are upfront costs and things like that. But that would be up to your voucher administrator. In general, yes, you can use a mobile housing voucher at this property. It just requires a little bit of coordination between the leasing office and the housing administrator. So your housing authority will be in touch to confirm that the rents are okay, the unit's inspected, and all that sort of thing. Any questions? You'll have an email from me in a few hours or by tomorrow morning at the latest with the waiting list. And the next step in the process is if you're one of the top households that's highlighted in green on the waiting list, you'll be in touch with the leasing office fairly soon, and they will conduct your lease screening with you. If you are approved by the leasing office after they do their lease screening, you'll be referred back to SEB Housing to submit your verifications of income, assets, all that sort of thing, and we will confirm if you're eligible for the affordable housing program. Because at this point, you've only self-reported on your lottery application what your income is, and then we need to verify that at the end. There is accessibility for the disabled or with ADA. So there is one unit that is hold on one second, I'm trying to open up, there we go. There is one bedroom that is a disabled accessible unit. None of the other affordable units are disabled accessible. There are other market rate units at the property that are disabled accessible, but the affordable unit that is disabled accessible is a one bedroom. Any other questions? Again, you'll hear from us. The email will come from info@sebhousing.com, so have a look at that. If you have any questions after you take a look at the waiting list and the information that's attached, of course, let us know, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you all for attending, and again, if you have any questions, info@sebhousing.com is the email that's going to be the email address that you're going to be getting an email from, and it's also the email address that you can ask any questions to. So I appreciate you joining in, and have a good night.